If you feel like you're chasing your tail on metalwork and you're spending days trying to fill in gaps in the metalwork where, maybe you cut a patch panel too short and left too big of a gap and you gotta go back and fix that, or you get everything back together and then you step away from it and you realize that maybe the body lines don't even line up anymore. So trust me, I've been there, and ultimately what it means is that you are wasting one of your most precious resources, which is your time. So today, I'm gonna show you not only how to save time, but also money with these 5 tips on metalworking when it comes to classic cars. So just for reference today, we're using this 1979 Ford pickup truck that we're restoring. So that's what we're gonna be working on in this video. I'm not gonna go into the details. There will be an entirely separate playlist on this entire build if you want to go check out that portion. I think the most important thing when it comes to metalworking is that a lot of people are misled and they spend way too much money. So think of the big pieces of equipment that you're going to need, and metalworking requires quite a bit of different things, but there are several different stages to it. So like I remember whenever I started, I went out and got a welder, and that was basically the only thing that I needed, was to just be able to, like I can figure out a way to cut the metal out. Air tools are not very expensive. But again, online, you just hear all these people, like the Redditors of the world, if you will, and you hear a lot of mixed information. A lot of them will recommend cheap welders, but more likely they're gonna recommend extremely expensive welders that are thousands and thousands of dollars, and every other welder does not compare and they're junk. Like, that's the way of thinking when it comes to this kind of stuff and buying equipment, is if it's cheap or more affordable, then it's junk. I'm here to tell you that that's wrong. I've used several different welders now throughout the time of owning this business, and I can tell you that you can get a great welder that'll work for everything that you're gonna need for the thinner sheet metal, and obviously they'll do things like repairs on frames and stuff like that you're gonna need. But you can spend well under $1,000 and get a very, very good welder that'll do everything that you're gonna need for this. So don't feel like you have to go spend thousands on a welder. I've read those things whenever I was first getting started. It's just not true. So to prove it to you, the welder that I'm gonna be using in this video is a few $100, and it is a YesWelder 205 DS Pro. This welder is going to be plenty for what we're trying to do here, and I'm going to prove it to you, is going to be on the 205 DS Pro. And you can actually switch the liner out of it. It comes with a graphene liner in there, and then you can use the welder to do aluminum. So again, I'm not going to do that on this truck because everything is steel, so it just doesn't make any sense. Now, my favorite tip is number 5 personally, and whenever we get to that point, you're going to realize that I'm going to recommend a somewhat expensive piece of equipment, but I'm telling you, that is the biggest time saver in this whole group of 5, and I'm actually kind of excited to share it with you. But we're going to get to that later. Number 2 is going to be using magnets and what's called clecos. There's the little butt welding clamps that you can get for this kind of work where you line 2 panels up and then you want the perfect butt weld, and there's like this little thing, it's a clamp that goes down between it, and it's got supposedly the perfect welding gap. And there's like a square piece of tubing that goes in there, and you just twist it down. That's probably the most common thing that people offer for doing butt welds. The problem is, if you've ever used it, well, first of all, if you don't have access to the back side of that, you're not gonna be able to get that piece of square tubing in the back of that butt welding clamp. So that's number 1. Number 2, if you can, and then, like let's say you somehow figure out a way to get that in there, and then you run the butt welding clamp out of there, that little piece of square tubing falls down and it's just somewhere in the car. And then, then you're out of those little pieces of square tubing. So what I did was I threw all those in the trash and I replaced them with magnets. So you go on Amazon, wherever you want to get them. I can link to the ones that I specifically bought down below, but you just get a pack of a multitude of magnets all in one kit. So let's say that you've got this, steel piece that's up here and you want to bring this piece up to it. So instead of having to mess with the butt welding clamp, you put the magnet over the gap and it'll just keep it held up there. So you don't have to worry about having to, run your hand around and jack with all that stuff. It's just super easy from the top. You just stick a magnet right on top of it. Now, if you've got an overlapping section where there's a piece of steel and another piece of steel on top of it, you can drill an 1/8" hole through all the way through, and then you use what's called a cleco. And the cleco has it's a special kind of fastener that'll go through, and it's basically a clamp. but it holds those two pieces of steel together through that 1/8 inch hole, and it only leaves an 1/8 inch hole, which is super easy to weld up. Number 3 is going to be panel fitment. So if you have, you know, let's say you're fitting a floor pan or a door skin, something like that. One way that you can do it is you cut a majority of the section that you're going to be replacing out. Just cut, like if there's any body lines, that kind of stuff. You cut a majority of that stuff out. Then you allow the new panel to overlap the original metal. And then you'll take either a body saw. I've used a little 3-inch cutoff wheel before, but that'll give you a little bit bigger gap to weld. But a body saw gives you a perfect gap to cut all the way down that seam, and it gives you the perfect gap. You don't have to worry about sitting there and like, you know, cutting one piece, overlaying it, marking it out, or scribing it. You just basically cut through both pieces at the same time. Then that's going to give you a perfect butt weld, okay? And then you take your magnets, and it's going to basically take that straight up to where you get a nice flush finish. Nice flush finish. Say that 5 times fast. Wow. Nice flush finish, nice flush finish, nice flush finish. So number 4 is whenever you're doing a plug weld and you've got your, you've got all your welding done and you're gonna go grind your welds down. The best thing that you could possibly use for just knocking the top of those welds down really quickly and very accurately is a cutoff wheel. So a 3-inch little cutoff wheel on a grinder, you just take that right along the top, and you're gonna notice that, you know, it doesn't even touch the metal around it. If you just stay right on the peak of that butt weld, then it's gonna just take that one section down. And then as you get close, because you don't want to do all of your grinding with this because it's gonna leave a lot of grind marks in it, but you wanna get the weld down as close as you possibly can, and then you start finishing it out with, you know, like maybe a small twist lock style grinder or something like that. So, but that is the best way to, you know, preserve all the metal around it, but also just really quickly and accurately get that butt weld down really nicely. So number 5, which is my absolute favorite, nothing even comes close to this in my opinion, but again, you do have to have an expensive plasma table for this. So, you know, you can use a smaller, like it doesn't have to be a large plasma table. I got one of the biggest ones that I could find through Eastwood, but it doesn't have to be this massive setup. So you can just get a smaller table and it does the same purpose. But as you're metalworking, I like to use my cardboard templates. So I will, you know, make all my, like I'll basically cut the piece first, which is going to replicate like what it would be on flat steel. If there's any bends, I always mark those on the cardboard. I'll actually sit them in the break and make the bends so that, like, you know, I can see a nice crisp line in my cardboard. So that's the way that I always lay out the piece that I'm going to need out of steel. Because then, you know, once everything's done and you have an intricate design, you can lay it all flat. The old process that I was using was basically taking the piece of steel that I was going to cut that shape out of. I would lay it onto the piece of steel, trim around it with, or trace around it with permanent marker. I'd mark all my bends and everything like that. And then you can, like, that's a quick way of doing it. Again, you do not have to do this, but if you do have access to these things, it's going to save you a ton of time. So, and again, you can even utilize other companies like to do these kind of things for you. So, you know, if you're going to be doing a lot of these and you want to just like get a bunch of these shapes done and you just want to save a ton of time, I mean, you may have to spend a little bit more money to have another company do these shapes. But so basically what I do, instead of having to trace it on a piece of steel now, is I basically lay the piece of the cardboard template on the ground, snap a picture of it on my phone, and I take that picture over to a program that it's Fusion 360 if you guys are familiar with it. I take one measurement from the actual cardboard template and I scale the, like basically a canvas up to where that, you know, it's the same size of what I'm needing, and then I outline it on CAD. So, and then basically I program it into my plasma table, and then my plasma table will cut a perfect piece that is exactly what that cardboard was laid out as. Now with that, if you had, you know, marked something to be a bin line, If you're using thicker gauge steel and you don't have a brake, you can even have the machine run one line where you're going to be needing it to do a bigger bend. So that's another really nice thing about having a plasma table, is being able to use that kind of stuff to, you know, really speed the process up. Because then I take it over my plasma table, I always have steel on there, I just put my flash drive in it, hit start, and it's within, I don't even know, like probably, like for most smaller pieces, you're talking like 15 seconds. It's just cutting it out perfectly. There's no work that has to be done afterwards. The piece is perfectly cut out. And then I can go put the little bend in it if I need it, and then I'm ready to go. So that has saved me tons of time. The other really nice thing about the Eastwood table is that because there's a built-in screen that comes with it, and there's preloaded shapes onto the screen. So if there's like a section that's rusted out, so let's say it's in this area, then I would just pick a shape. I like circles because rounded edges on things that you're welding seem to take less heat. It's more distributed around a round shape than it would be if there was like corners in it. So if you're cutting a square, those corners could get hot and then you blow through and all that stuff. So I just figure out the widest part of the repair I'm trying to do, and I make a circle that's slightly bigger than that on my plasma table. And I basically just go in there, hit circle, it'll ask me what diameter, and then you just take the circle up to here, and then you just trace it and cut that out. So it's super, super easy. I love integrating this technology with metalworking. It helps a lot. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link to the YesWelder 205 DS Pro down in the description if you wanna go check it out. Again, you can get a really nice welder for just a few $100, and it is gonna do everything that you need on these cars. So do not believe what you see online. Don't feel like you can't get started because you have this big expense that you have to get right away, which is a multi-$1,000 welder. That's not the case. The last video I did seemed to do pretty good, so I wanted to bring another one to you, just in the shape of metalworking. But the last video was the top 5 ways to save time whenever you're doing body working. So again, different beast than metalworking. But so those are 5 totally different tips that I feel like people responded really well to. So if you want to go check that out, I'll link to it up in the corner as well. We also have an entire playlist full of all kinds of different how-to stuff, so I will link to that as well. You'll be able to find anything on there that you'll need. All right, guys, let me know what you think about these tips. If you have anything else you want to add down in the comments, feel free to. And if you haven't already, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the YouTube channel. It would keep helping this thing grow. We're very close to 10,000 subscribers at this point, and I'd really like to get over there. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.